The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
The Chofetz Chaim, when he was older, he remarried. Chofetz Chaim was married for 3 times, and the Chofetz Chaim had a girl, a very young daughter. At the end of the First World War, in the beginning of First World War, she was about 8 years old, and she's telling over this story. The fighting was going on, but it wasn't so close to Radin. So the people were comfortable, everybody was staying home, nobody was leaving. But then the front came all the way till Radin, and the Chofetz Chaim decided that we have to run away. It was a Friday morning, and they packed up some things, they took some food along, and they went to the train. They got on the train, and they started going east, away from the front. The train was going, and every time it made a stop, it stopped for 10-15 minutes. People got on, people got off. And then it started getting dark. And the Chofetz Chaim told his daughter, and Rebbe Chanan was with him, that we have to get off the train. And Rebbe Chanan told the Chofetz Chaim, we're not where we have to go. There's no Yidden over here. There's nothing to do here. It's in the middle of the Midbar. The Chofetz Chaim said, it's a Chil Hashem. He says, why is it a Chil Hashem? He says, because there's going to be Yiddish people on the train, coming on, going off, and they're going to see from a Yidden traveling on Shabbos Kiddush, it's going to be a Chil Hashem. So Rebbe Chanan told the Chofetz Chaim, aber es doch pikuach nefesh. We're running away from the war. Everybody understands that. Chofetz Chaim says, it's a Chil Hashem. I can't have any part in the Chil Hashem. He got off the train, and it was freezing. Chofetz Chaim took off his coat, and covered his daughter, this 8-year-old daughter, with it, and they were there the entire Shabbos, in no man's land. They just ate, and they davened, and they learned together, the Chofetz Chaim with Rebbe Chanan, and that's how they spent the entire Shabbos. And the girl said she was so freezing that she was going to die from coldness. And the Chofetz Chaim spoke to her and warmed her up. And L'maisa, after Shabbos, they got onto the next train, and they continued east. But the Chofetz Chaim was so sensitive to Chil Hashem, even b'shas pikuach nefesh. I saw another story that there was a woman who came in front of the Amshin of a Rebbe, Rabbi Yankiv David, and she was crying, and she told the Rebbe, the Rebbe knows that there's machlis going around, there's diseases, pandemic, and my oldest son, my Bechor, died from the pandemic. What could I do? But now my second son became sick. I only have 2 sons, and I'm scared I'm going to lose my second son. Please have Rachmanas on me. Give me a bracha that my baby should live. So the Amshin of a Rebbe told her, I'm maftiach you that your son is going to live in ganzen gesund. Don't worry. So the lady was very happy, and she went out. Meanwhile, the Gaboyim went over to the Rebbe, and they said, Rebbe, you don't even know who this lady is. Why are you taking on such a guarantee that the baby's going to live? So he said, what could I do? If I don't give her this bracha, if I don't tell her that her baby's going to live, she's going to stay here a whole day and cry. It's going to take away from my avodas Hashem. I have to give her the bracha. When the Gaboyim left, the Rebbe got up in his room, and he started crying to Rabbeinu Shalom, and they were listening outside the door. And this is what the Rebbe said. Rabbeinu Shalom, this lady thinks that I'm a tzaddik. And if my bracha is not neskabel by you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, chas v'shalom, it's going to cause a chil Hashem. And Memela, they're going to say that divrei tzaddikim don't help. The brachas of a tzaddik is garnished. So even though that be'emes, you know, I'm not a tzaddik. But since she thinks that I'm a tzaddik, so please have rachmanis and make it that a nochil should come out from what I said and be merapa the baby and the baby should live. And taka, avada, we all know, the baby lived. But you see that not only is the Rebbe helping Yidden to bracha Yidden, and not only is he worried about a chilul Hashem, but he covered up his godless, even in front of his own gaboyim, that he blamed it on that the lady's going to cry a whole day and make him crazy. But really, he was coming to HaKadosh Baruch Hu with a bakasha that chilul Hashem shouldn't come out. I heard a story from Moshe Aaron Stern. Moshe Aaron Stern said that in Tovshin Chaf Aleph, they made Gateshead Yeshiva was building a brand new building. And they went to get the zoning rights, the permit from the town to be able to expand and build a building. This is in 1961. And when the Goyim in Gateshead heard about it, they went and they got together and they made a petition to go against Gateshead Yeshiva. They went to every Goy in town and they got the signature. And then they decided that they're going to the priest and the priest should sign, and then once they have the priest on it, they'll present it to the court and that'll stop the Gateshead Yeshiva from continuing on and building their new building. So they went to the priest's house, and the priest happened to live right next door to the yeshiva. And the priest took the petition, and he looked at it, and he read it, and he told the people that came, take this petition and rip it up and destroy it. And they said, why? Why are you saying that? And he says, I want to tell you something. I live next door to the yeshiva. When I'm bored, I open up my window shade and I stare into the windows of the Beis Medrash of Gateshead Yeshiva. And I watch how the Bochum learn. And their Rischa Derais is unbelievable. But in all the years that I'm living here, I never ever saw a Bocha hit another Bocha. No one picked up his hand on the other Bocha. Their midas are beautiful. The way they handle with each other, it's just so enjoyable. This is how children should learn. This is how people should grow up. And what's happening by us? We don't have such a youth. Our youth kills each other. This is in 1961, not today. So I am mekana in these Bachrim. I want them to have 10 buildings. I want them to have more Bachrim over here. Because it's just enjoyable. It's good for them. It's good for us. We don't know how much they're doing for us. This is the mamish, the opposite of a chilul Hashem. This is the Kiddush Hashem that no one knows that they're doing. They're just learning. They're just acting the way they were brought up. They learn Musar and they get shmuzin and hadracha from the Hanhol Havada. But the Maisa, this is how they're growing up. And this is a pe'er. And this is how it should be all over the world. When a person walks in the street, the Goyim should look at us and say, oh, there goes HaKadosh Baruch Hu's chosen nation. So we have to be so super careful. My father, Zecher Tzadik Levracha, used to always say, when people would ask him his name, he would say Rabbi Epstein. And people would tell him, what's this with Lakewood? Everybody's a rabbi? There's no mister in the whole Lakewood? Everybody's a rabbi? So my father told him that Reb Baron wanted very much, Reb Baron Kotler wanted very much that everybody should be called a rabbi. You're a Ben Torah, you're a rabbi. So my father said that a beer, that if Chas v'Shalom, when the Goyish radio is going to talk about from a Yid, they're going to say 2 rabbis from Lakewood did this and this and this. It doesn't matter if you call yourself a mister or a doctor or a lawyer or whatever it should be. They're going to say a rabbi from Lakewood. So Mamela, you have to learn to act like that. So if people can say they call you rabbi, maybe you'll take it to heart and you'll act like a rabbi. And you'll always be a walking Kiddush Hashem. And that's the way we have to strive to become, that wherever we go, people should say, look how beautiful these people are. Wow, I wish my kids would grow up like those kids.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org